The FBI and Oregon State Police pulled over LaVoy Finicum on his way to a meeting with the sheriff of Grant County. 60 seconds after LaVoy stopped, police shot at passenger Ryan Payne as he was holding out his hands to demonstrate he was not a threat and was merely talking with the police. Ultimately, LaVoy was killed with 3 shots in the back. However, the first shot is extremely important. This first shot dramatically escalated the situation. The circumstances of this shot are important for understanding later events and for understanding the motives of the FBI and Oregon State Police.
Ryan Payne turns and he looks, and we see this whole string of unmarked vehicles and trailers and unmarked vehicles was a little scary for me because this is what we had seen in Bunkerville at the Bundy Ranch. LaVoy said it's an ambush. No, Ryan said it was an ambush. And so we kept going down the road, but we watched those vehicles. They pulled around behind, and we had the Jeep close behind us. And LaVoy looks in the rearview mirror and he said, "Why are they slowing down?" Because we could see these cars coming out from behind that side road, snowy road, and we were a little bit worried about why the Jeep was stopping. We needed to get to John Day. We needed to get to a safety place. We needed to get to the sheriff. And as they came up around, that Jeep just stopped, pulled off the side of the road, and LaVoy wasn't going to stop. And suddenly, Ryan Payne says, "You got to stop," because they were coming upon us. And really reluctantly, LaVoy stops in the middle of the road, and his leg is bouncing up and down on the brake. I can see it, and he's nervous. And he's saying, "No, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go." As soon as we stopped that car, Ryan Payne rolls down the window and puts his hands out. Victoria's up by now. She's awake. We can see this red laser pointing, and I hear the bullet hit. Ryan Payne recoils back into the truck.
Next, you will see aerial footage of LaVoy stopping and the shot at Ryan Payne.
So finally, reluctantly, LaVoy slows down and pulls over. And he didn't pull very far over because it's a snowy road. But he slows down and he stops.
In the top right is a timer indicating the time since LaVoy has stopped. At 60 seconds, the shot at Ryan Payne will occur.
And Ryan Payne rolls down the window and he sticks both hands out the window and he yells back at I'm guessing whoever it was with the flashing lights, and he yells back at him. It hadn't been 2 seconds probably, and his hands are out, and a shot comes through and misses his hands. I thought it hit him, but it hit the mirror, the little thing between the mirror and the window, and so that was the first shot fired, and he yanked back in really fast, and he goes, "Wow, they're shooting at us." Well, it was unbelievable, and we're going, "Whoa, what?" And so LaVoy was going to go on. And when I looked up, and he has on the back of his head, he has a laser pointing on the top of his hat.
Ryan Payne was like, he was in the front seat. Ryan Payne is amazing. He is incredible. But anyhow, so he was like, he said, he put his hands out the window, because he was trying to talk to them. He was like, if he wanted the guy to just, he was like, "I don't know if it's worth it." He's like, so he put his hands out the window and he said, "We have women in the car, at least let the women get out." And he stuck his head out and they shot at him.
This is another view from the other plane of the shot at Ryan Payne. You can see that LaVoy has his hands out the window, and Ryan Payne also has his hands out the window. From this view, you can see more clearly when Ryan Payne pulls in his hands after the shot. The following is one of the officer's descriptions of the events leading up to the first shot at Ryan Payne. So initially there was 2 conversations going on, 2 verbal commands going on to those individuals. Payne kind of stuck his hands out the window and made some comments, and asked what was going on. Later this officer states, Payne acts like he's kind of half out the truck. He acts like he's going to go back in. He starts to kind of go back in, and officer number 5 fires a 40mm less lethal sponge tip round, which hits him in the arm. This officer does not describe anything that Ryan Payne did that would justify shooting at him. The officer's statements agree with those of Shauna Cox and Victoria Sharp that Ryan Payne was talking with the police and they shot at him for no apparent reason. A possible reason for the shot will come from an unexpected source. Mark McConnell was secretly working for the FBI and was driving the second vehicle that was pulled over containing Ammon Bundy and Brian Cavalier, who is also known as Buddha. In Mark's publicly released video, he describes the circumstances surrounding the first shot.
You know, being armed, yeah, they were a little rougher with me, but I would be too. Then they pulled Ammon out. They pulled Buddha out. And then after they had us secured, you know, they radioed ahead that vehicle 1 was secure, go ahead and proceed with vehicle 2. At that time, we seen somebody come out of vehicle 2.
The thing to notice in his statement is that he indicates no time delay between the command to proceed with vehicle 2 and the shot which resulted in Ryan Payne coming out of the truck. This indicates that they planned the shot beforehand and were waiting until vehicle 1 was secured before firing the shot. The following is another recording of Mark McConnell talking about the first shot. He refers to the shot as a pop. The important point to notice is that he describes the shot as the next event after the police give the go-ahead to proceed with vehicle 2. This indicates that the officers were waiting for the command to initiate the shot at Ryan Payne.
Got you. So,
and then the dude that was here, he called for, he's the one that called ahead that said the vehicle 1 was clear, proceed with vehicle 2. That's when you heard the pop.
right.
But we were standing back here, they had us back here with our chests up against the back of a pickup truck. So I mean, I could see down the pickup, and I could see them, I could hear the pop, but I couldn't see like a weapon in anybody's hands or anything. And then that's when Payne come out of the truck and went to the ground.
One of the officers describes his plans after the first shot. So our plan was to use less lethal with orange tips that have an OC chemical in them and fire them through the open window of the passenger side. The stated reason for doing this was to prevent him from driving off. The stated reason is ridiculous. Shooting at the truck again would encourage LaVoy to drive off. Simply telling LaVoy that there was a roadblock ahead could have prevented LaVoy from driving off. Instead, they planned to shoot again. The fact that they were planning a second shot shows that the first shot was also a planned shot, because they were planning to shoot again. Next, you will see a volunteer who is shot with a foam bullet similar to the one that was used on Ryan Payne.
So the most important question, would this motivate you to leave?
Absolutely. Oh.
When an officer shoots at someone with less lethal bullets, there is an implied command to run away. This implied command to run away is recognized by police officers. All of the evidence indicates that the officers were attempting to get LaVoy to drive off. Further evidence will show that the goal was to get LaVoy to crash into the roadblock.
I'm guessing whoever it was with the flashing lights, and he yells back at him. It hadn't been 2 seconds probably, and his hands are out, and a shot comes through and misses his hands. I thought it hit him, but it hit the mirror, the little thing between the mirror and the window, and so that was the first shot fired, and he yanked back in really fast, and he goes, "Wow, they're shooting at us." Well, it was unbelievable, and we're going, "Whoa, what?" And so LaVoy was going to go on. And when I looked up, and he has on the back of his head, he has a laser pointing on the top of his hat. There's a laser beam on his head. And he leans out in front of the mirror, out of the window, and he puts his hand out, and he has one on the steering wheel, and he yells back at them. And he says, "Then shoot me, because we're going to see the sheriff. We have a meeting with the sheriff and John Day, so just go ahead and shoot me if that's what you're going to do."
Ryan Payne has just been shot at for no apparent reason, and the police were now placing their laser sights on the back of LaVoy's head, making an implied threat to shoot LaVoy. At this point, Shauna turned on her camera and records LaVoy's response to the police threatening to shoot LaVoy.
"Shoot me, you shoot me. I'm going to meet the sheriff. The sheriff is waiting for us. So you do as you damn well please. But I'm not going anywhere. Here I am, right there. Right there, put a bullet through it. You understand? I'm going to go meet the sheriff. You back down or you kill me now. Go ahead, put the bullet through me. I don't care.
Where's Ryan?
I'm going to go meet the sheriff. You do as you damn well please.
Although LaVoy is argumentative and extremely sarcastic about the shot fired by the officers, LaVoy is clearly not threatening any violence towards the police. He is protesting the shot. When the officers ask the women to get out of the truck, Shauna seems very reluctant and scared, as would be expected.
What for?
Well, I'm going to ask them if they want to go out.
What for? Why are we getting
You want out?
What for? What are we getting out?
Who are you? Yeah, who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Oregon State Police.
Okay.
The officers have shot without provocation and before even identifying themselves. The officers did not identify themselves until they were directly asked, and the FBI never identified themselves at all.
Okay, well, I'm going over to meet the sheriff in Grant County. You can come along with us, and you can talk with us over there.
When he tells them he is going to meet the sheriff, LaVoy is attempting to justify driving off and telling them of his intention and where he is going. He is trying to satisfy the criteria for the officers to not aggressively pursue him. It is clear that he hopes that the sheriff will offer some safety and possibly reduce the violence initiated by these officers.
You can go ahead and shoot me. You put the laser right there, put the bullet through the head. Okay, boys? This is going to get real. You want my blood on your hands?
This is the closest thing to a threat that LaVoy makes. Do you want my blood on your hands? LaVoy is using sarcasm to point out the excessiveness of the officers' actions and hoping that their sense of morality will prevent them from continuing to shoot.
Get it done, because we got people to see and places to go.
A roadblock is considered deadly force. When they decided not to tell LaVoy about the roadblock ahead when they had an opportunity to do so, this was a decision to use deadly force against each and every passenger in the truck, including Victoria Sharp and Shauna Cox, who they now know were in the truck because Ryan Payne had told them. So where exactly does LaVoy think he's going to flee to? One of the officers stated that there was a sheriff in Grant County and a large amount of community members in Grant County that had similar constitutional beliefs, and to the point of Grant County making it clear that they are UN-free zone. When asked, was that a factor in moving the location from Grant County to where you made the incident, this officer responded, absolutely. This officer seems to think that he is working for a foreign power that is unfriendly to the Constitution. LaVoy is attempting to make it to the part of Oregon that follows U.S. law and the Constitution. I would not have believed it if these statements didn't come from the officer himself. This graph shows the speed that LaVoy was traveling from the first stop up to the roadblock. It was determined by locating LaVoy's truck at several locations on Google Earth and using this to calculate the distance traveled. This, along with the time from the video, allowed the speed to be calculated at several intervals. The blue line is the speed of LaVoy's truck. The green line is the speed limit of 55 miles per hour at the time of LaVoy's murder. The orange line is the current speed limit, which has been raised to 65 miles per hour. The red line shows the speed of the officer chasing LaVoy, who claimed to be chasing LaVoy at 90 miles per hour. He stated, It took a while to get caught up to him, and I probably even hit close to 90. After LaVoy got up to speed, he leveled out at 65 miles per hour, which is above the speed limit at the time, but is the current speed limit on the road. This seems to indicate that at this point LaVoy intended to do just what he had told the officers. He was traveling to meet the sheriff in Grant County and allowing the officers to follow him. At this point, LaVoy looks in his rearview mirror twice and begins to speed up. It is about this time that the officer who is pursuing at 90 miles per hour is gaining fast. At this point, Ryan and Shauna comment about the police vehicle that is gaining fast.
Coming up fast.
Yeah, they are.
An officer pursuing LaVoy stated, So we, in pursuit of that vehicle, followed it until it started getting close to the roadblock, and we backed off slightly, anticipating there might be an issue there. This indicates that the officer was attempting to push the speed up so that LaVoy would be traveling at the highest speed possible when he reached the roadblock. The speed graph indicates that LaVoy was responding to the chasing vehicle. LaVoy increased his speed after looking in the mirror and seeing the officer pursuing at 90 miles per hour and closing fast. LaVoy decreased his speed at the time the officer claimed he backed off slightly. There was no need for the officer to chase LaVoy since there was a roadblock just around the corner. It did not increase the likelihood of apprehending LaVoy, but it dramatically increased the likelihood of a deadly crash, and the evidence indicates that this was the intention of the pursuing officer. The evidence from both the speed graph and the officer's statements indicates that the officer was attempting to initiate a high-speed chase into a roadblock. This was not an accident, since the officer indicates that his actions had been considered in the planning stage, and he had been instructed to chase LaVoy in this manner. This officer stated, in the event, as it turned out to be in this case, that the white truck fled, my vehicle and the van were tasked with continuing to follow that vehicle. Had there not been a roadblock a mile ahead, this would have been reasonable, but combined with the presence of the roadblock, this indicates an attempt to cause a deadly crash. Next, you will see the video footage correlated to the speed graph.
Go. Got it. Are they shooting? Got it. Keep going.
What about Ammon and those guys?
We can't get around them. I'm going to go get help.
Okay.
Stay down. Stay down.
I need
Stay
a
down.
phone so I can call as soon as I get service.
Wait up. Yeah, keep watching the phone to see if you get any service.
I don't have my
I
phone.
can't even get Joe Rice.
Coming up fast.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, I don't know about numbers.
Well, I got numbers, but I can't call because we have no service.
Okay.
No, mobile network not available.
Do you have numbers for people here in town?
Yeah, but... Hang on!
Okay, they're shooting.
Hang on!
Okay, let's get down. Okay, we're here.
Go ahead and shoot me!
In another video, I have shown that the roadblock was placed at the most dangerous location possible, when safe locations for the roadblock were easily available nearby. The FBI should have placed some type of warning to approaching vehicles. There are numerous types of signs that are routinely used to warn motorists of closed roads ahead. In other police roadblock situations, warning signs and lights are commonly used. There are also other warning methods such as cones and lights and flares. From the video, we can see that the FBI used none of these warning methods. Even a handmade sign would have been superior to the FBI's complete lack of warning signs or devices. Now we will look at how the FBI uses warning lights on its vehicles. This is the roadblock from the air and from behind. We can see that there is blue flashing light on this truck, and this truck has 6 flashing lights. At first glance, it looks like there is adequate amount of flashing lights as a warning. Now look at the view from the direction that LaVoy approached. From the air, there are only 2 lights visible. This light will not be visible to LaVoy because the lights are on the side of the truck and not on the top. The cab will block LaVoy's visibility of this light. The photo on the right was taken from this direction. It shows the position of the black truck and of the light gray truck with the flashing lights. This photo verifies that the cab hides the light from the far side, and if the view is unobstructed, only 1 flashing light is visible. This photo also shows that from eye level, this truck cab appears higher than the flashing light and would therefore block the visibility of this light. This photo indicates that LaVoy probably would have seen 0 flashing lights. All of the flashing lights were strategically hidden from LaVoy's view. This roadblock was camouflaged. This police reconstruction of the scene of the crime verifies that the truck with the flashing lights is hidden from view by the black truck, and that no flashing lights would be seen by LaVoy. From this view, the black truck hides the flashing lights. Contrast the FBI's lack of visible lights to other police vehicles that have so many flashing lights that they are highly visible and unmistakable as police vehicles. From the air, the roadblock is very visible, mainly because we see the light-colored trucks against the black road. However, from the road, LaVoy would see these light-colored trucks against a white background, and they would not be as visible. From the direction that LaVoy approached, he would have seen the black truck against the black road and the light truck against the snow, reducing the visibility of the roadblock. Also notice that only 1 truck has its headlights on. When LaVoy came around the curve, he would have initially seen nothing but a single pair of headlights, which would not alert him that anything was wrong. Only after close inspection would LaVoy realize that there were multiple trucks blocking the road. According to the police report, the shooting incident occurred 29 minutes before sunset. The video shows low light conditions in which headlights should be used. In fact, every vehicle that I was able to find on the road had its headlights on, with the exception of the 2 trucks in the roadblock. The only vehicles on the road with their headlights off were these 2 trucks in the roadblock. The only warning light that we can be certain was visible to LaVoy is the headlights from this single truck. This roadblock was camouflaged. The single pair of headlights might have made the roadblock harder to identify. To understand why this is the case, I have shown the road in low light conditions with a single car and headlights in the oncoming lane, a very ordinary situation that would cause no alarm. Or is it something else? Did you notice that it is actually a simulation of the roadblock with 3 trucks? The single pair of headlights makes it appear initially to be a single truck in the oncoming lane. It is only after further inspection that you can see that it is actually a well-disguised roadblock. When LaVoy stopped instead of fleeing, the Oregon State Police fired an unprovoked shot at Ryan Payne and then placed their lasers on LaVoy's head, threatening to shoot LaVoy also. When LaVoy did not immediately flee, Oregon State Police were planning a second shot at LaVoy's truck. Police did not inform LaVoy of the roadblock ahead, even after LaVoy stated his intention to drive ahead. Oregon State Police chased LaVoy at high speeds, with the result of increasing LaVoy's speed at the roadblock. The roadblock was camouflaged using several methods. The roadblock was placed on a dangerous curve. There was no advance warning of the approaching roadblock. Flashing police lights, although present at the roadblock, were all strategically hidden from LaVoy's view. Headlights on 2 of the 3 vehicles in the roadblock were turned off. The headlights of only 1 truck was left on, making the roadblock appear to be a single oncoming vehicle. All of these actions increased the likelihood of a deadly crash, and I found no actions by the police that increased safety. The evidence indicates that the FBI and Oregon State Police attempted to cause a deadly high-speed crash into the roadblock. The situation was set up so that LaVoy could easily be blamed for the crash. These events cannot be blamed on LaVoy because most of these actions were either planned or had already been implemented before LaVoy arrived on the scene. Since it is unlikely that the FBI will be indicted for the murder of LaVoy Finicum, the only hope for justice is the lawsuit by Jeanette Finicum. Although I do not speak for Jeanette Finicum, I recommend that decent people donate to her legal fund. You can do this at Jeanette's website, onecowboysstandforfreedom.com.